what's going on, guys? It's Max24, and the 95th Oscars happened over the weekend, so we're gonna stop and we're gonna talk about everything that happened at the Oscars, at Hollywood's biggest night. But before we do that, please have a dream to drop a like, comment, subscribe, tell your friends, you know, like us, all the us YouTubers, tell you guys to do, follow me on social media, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. I upload some Twitter and TikToks, and on Facebook, barely ever on Instagram. Follow me on Facebook, subscribe to me here, and with that, let's talk about the 95th Oscars. So I love the Oscars, alright? I try to watch all of the nominees every single year, both animated, best picture, sometimes the shorts. I just love movies and I love celebrating film in the film industry, and that's why the Oscars is a yearly watch for me. And this Oscars was a pretty decent Oscars, alright? Nothing big, scary happened, no huge upsets, no huge anything. It was just pretty standard affair. So we're going to talk about everything that happened. I'm going to start by just doing a little rundown of the entire event, you know, what worked, what didn't work, and then I'll get into the actual intricate award. So if you want to skip to the award part, that'll be at the end of this. I'll have a little timeline thing, whatever chapters below. But we're going to start by just talking about the award show as a whole. And like I said, this was a pretty standard Oscars. Not a lot of huge things happened, all right? Last year, there was the big, infamous slap, Will Smith walking up stage, slapping Chris Rock and just going back and cussing him out and stuff, and then him going up there and winning an award. That was a very infamous thing. It was talked about for the entire year pretty much, all right? And going into this Oscars, it was a big glaring issue because, oh my gosh, is this going to happen again? Is this setting a new precedent for the Oscars? But before the Oscars started, they said they created a new emergency response team to handle stuff like this. I think that's just called security, but they created an emergency response team. They were going to make sure nothing like this happens. Jimmy Kimmel was coming to host the Oscars yet again, and it was, it worked. Nothing big happened. Nothing scary happened. There was not huge cringy moments. There was not, the slap. There was nothing like that. They made a lot of jokes about the slap, which I thought was really funny. Instead of just, brushing on the rug, instead of just being like, okay, that happened last year, we're not going to talk about it. They made that a part of their show, right? Jimmy Kimmel and other people kept constantly bringing it up and making jokes about it, which I thought were funny. And overall, I thought the jokes were pretty funny, all right? Some of them fell flat, but those are typical of jokes. But a lot of them I thought, were nice little digs at certain things like Babylon losing money. Cocaine Bear was there. There was a bunch of just random jokes. The security team, Jimmy Kimmel was going to create a security team of a bunch of actors with Spider-Man and I don't know. There was a whole list, but I remember Andrew Garfield was there because his face is being memed throughout all of the internet. But yeah, it was a pretty funny opening. All right, it started with a jet flyover. Then Jimmy Kimmel came in on a parachute, and then he was like, "Oh, jokes, blah blah. Welcome to the Oscars." All the typical spiel. And then they just got right into the awards. They kept going award after award after award. It was just nonstop. It was jokes, awards, speeches, and for the most part, most of the people that won actually. I felt like they, they deserved their win, or it was not like these pompous actors that are like, oh, I'm here all the time, give me the award, I'm used to this, and then I'm gonna talk about something completely different on my, not thank people. No, I got things to say. No, this award show, it was. These people were in tears winning, all right? These are people that have made grand returns to Hollywood that we have not seen for years. These are people who are breaking into Hollywood for the first time. Most of these people, I think, just really, really, really deserve these awards. And you could just tell their genuine joy and, tears and just happiness. There's some tears where the actors are kind of just like, look at me. I won another award. when Tom Hanks walks up on stage. But, a lot of these winners were just, they felt genuine. They felt real, and their speech is heartfelt. There's some issues with the Oscars cutting certain people off, all right? I know they have to run a strict timeline, have to get people in and out. They have to move. They always go over 3 hours, and they're trying to, rein it in a little bit. But there were some issues with cutting off people, not letting people actually, thank. There was teams. There was, groups of people who would win awards, and then one person would talk for the group, and then the other person would come up, and want to say something, but the music would play them off, so they would not get a chance. The one person takes up the entire time, and the other person's not allowed to come up and do their own speech, and I just felt like that hurt because, I think that these people deserve, they worked tirelessly to win these awards. I think they deserve to thank people and, let their voices be heard, and they just were, I feel like there's a lot more cutting people off this year than I've seen before. I mean, there was less playing during speeches, but like certain groups of people, once the second member of that winning team wanted to make a speech, it was done. They cut him off. They were like, nope, you're not doing it. Only one person gets to talk here. And it just, yeah, I feel bad for them. The performances were pretty much mostly all strong. RRR's Naatu is probably the most fun performance of the night. And then the Everything Everywhere All at Once song was probably the weakest performance of the night. I don't know what was going on there. It was just weird and wacky, and the song just wasn't well performed, I don't think. I think the song in the movie works really well, but I don't think it works on a live stage, and that was just really, really shown off here. Rihanna did a great job with Lift Me Up. There was the Sophia Carson song. I forget what movie that's from, but that was decent. Mostly all the performances were really strong, and the In Memoriam was as heartbreaking as ever. There were some big name actors that died last year, and it was sad seeing them on the In Memoriam, and the song that they went with it was really nice and heartfelt. And John Travolta introducing the In Memoriam just made me get a little teary-eyed, especially when he got teary-eyed and he was about to break down crying right then and there, but he pushed through, and it was very heartfelt. The In Memoriam is always one of my favorite parts of the night, even though it's really sad. Most of the presenters didn't really do a lot of skits. There wasn't many skits this year. It was mostly, we're going to stay on schedule, which they didn't. They went over. But we're going to stay on schedule. We're going to give out awards. That's what we're here for. We're not here to make all these corny jokes. There was a couple presenters that were making some jokes, which was funny as usual. And then there was a Cocaine Bear skit. But overall, it was pretty much, hi, I'm here to present an award. Here's the nominees. Here's the award. They also really went all out with the stage production this year, I feel like. Most of the big awards had like these big elaborate stage setups behind them. All right, we had like costumes, we had music, we had all these big, just gigantic platforms with stuff on them, and I think that was cool to see. There was also two big events that occurred during this. Two big companies, Warner Brothers and Disney, are celebrating their 100th anniversaries, and so they got a highlight at this Oscars. I mean, these two companies have defined the movie industry for a long time now. All right, 100 years, that is an impressive amount of time. And Warner Brothers' 100th anniversary thing was actually really touching. All right, they did a nice little montage reel of their past, present, and then a little bit of their future. And it was like, oh, look at us, look at what magical things we've done. And it was pretty nice, done on the backdrop of their film set. Disney's 100th anniversary, I don't think it was as heartfelt. They didn't really honor their past. They weren't like, look at us, look at what we've become, look at what we built. No, it was more just a glorified advertisement for the Little Mermaid live action trailer, which was in itself an advertisement to go online and watch the full trailer. I thought that was weird. I don't think that's what your 100th anniversary should have been. You can release the trailer today. That's okay. But that's what the ad spots and the commercials are for. You should have done a little montage, a little reel, a little look at us, look at where we've come from, look at what we've done for Hollywood, and look at where we are today. Instead of, it was just, look at what movie's coming out in a couple months. And I thought that was really weird. I feel like that felt really flat. I don't know why they did that. They shouldn't have done that. But, no, it is what it is. All right, I don't think Warner Brothers, I don't think Disney's really honoring their 100th anniversary like they should have. I think Warner Brothers did a lot better job. Disney may be making a lot more money at the box office, but Warner Brothers knows how to celebrate its 100th anniversary at the Oscars. So, but other than that, it was, pretty standard. There was literally nothing big that happened. Somebody almost fell. There was some fumbling of words, but other than that, it wasn't Oscars. There wasn't a lot of huge upsets either. There's not really much to talk about in the event itself because nothing big happened, which, I mean, is both good and bad because, it's good because that means that the Oscars ran without any problems, without any hiccups. It's bad because we have nothing to talk about the next couple days besides the awards, and, one thing like the slap made that award show really notorious. There's nothing here that's really making it notorious or super memorable. Jimmy Kimmel did a good job, but he wasn't like an, oh my gosh, top 10 hosts of all time. He was just Jimmy Kimmel. There was funny things, but it wasn't like, oh my gosh, this is the most memorable joke they've ever made. It was just a overall decent Oscars. And it had an increase in viewership, which is really nice to see because I want the Oscars to stay. I want to keep celebrating movies like this every single year. And there's a 12% increase of viewership to 18 million viewers, which pales in comparison to things like the Super Bowl, but it's still real in the Game Awards, but it's still really, really nice to see an increase instead of a decrease. But that's pretty much all I can say about the 95th Oscars event. All right, it was decent Oscars. Everything seemed to go without a hitch. So we're going to just jump right into the awards. And there were some awards here that I was actually genuinely surprised about, but most of them I saw coming. All right, I was like, okay, that makes sense. So we're just going to go down this list that I found on the Oscars website just so I can remind myself what one did. But Everything Everywhere All at Once pulled in the most Oscars of the night. I think they pulled in 7 Oscars, which is pretty impressive for a movie like that. It was my front runner to win a bunch of things, and I'm very glad that it did. So, Best Writing Original Screenplay, it went to Everything Everywhere All at Once. It was up against The Banshees, The Fabelmans, Tar, and Triangle of Sadness, and I think, again, Everything Everywhere All at Once definitely deserved that award, all right? It had some of the most best writing, some of the best original ideas. It was just overall a fun movie. Best Adapted Screenplay. Now, these are adapted from books, or I guess sequels count too, which I think is weird. But the nominees were All Quiet on the Western Front, Glass Onion, Living, Top Gun Maverick, and Women Talking. And Women Talking won this award. All right, I thought, although Women Talking was kind of boring in parts, it was just definitely women talking. That's pretty much all it was in the same setting. But the script, I thought, was really well done, all right? It was really well written, all the dialogue felt real and organic. Best Visual Effects was All Quiet on the Western Front, Avatar The Way of Water, The Batman, Black Panther Wakanda Forever, and Top Gun Maverick. And this one wasn't really a contest whatsoever. Going into this, I knew it was going to be Avatar The Way of Water, and it was, in fact, Avatar The Way of Water. I mean, that movie was all visual effects. It would have been weird if it didn't win the visual effects category. Best Sound, we had All Quiet on the Western Front, Avatar The Way of Water, The Batman, Elvis, and Top Gun Maverick. And although a lot of people wanted it to be The Batman, this award actually went to Top Gun Maverick, which again, I think makes sense, right? They captured the sound of jets, they felt the exhilarating engines of those jets as you're flying over, the sounds, the whirling, the flying, the flipping, all of that jazz. The Batman had some good sound too, and all these other movies had some good sound. But Top Gun Maverick was just something else, all right? So I think that definitely deserves that award. Best Live Action Short Film, we had An Irish Goodbye, Ivatu, Le Pupille or whatever. I don't know if I'm pronouncing either of those two right. Night Ride, and The Red Suitcase. And I haven't watched any of these, but I know people really like some of them. And An Irish Goodbye won. And now I can't say if that deserved it or not, because I don't know. I didn't watch it. But if you liked An Irish Goodbye, there you go. Best Animated Short Film, I was not able to watch any of these this year either. I just ran out of time. But the nominees were The Boy, the Mole, The Fox and the Horse, The Flying Sailor, Ice Merchants, My Year of Dicks, and an ostrich told me the world is fake, and I think I believe it. Now, my dad wanted An Ostrich Told Me, even though he's never seen it. He just thought that it was a weird, funny movie. But the winner was actually The Boy, the Mole, The Fox and the Horse, so I'm going to have to watch that. Again, I did not watch it. It had a beautiful animation style, but I have not watched it yet. Best Production Design, we had All Quiet on Western Front, Avatar The Way of Water, Babylon, Elvis, and The Fabelmans, and all of these movies had some fantastic production design, fantastic production and design, but it went to All Quiet on the Western Front, and I think that deserves it too. I mean, just the beautifulness of the layouts, of the look, of the everything about that film was just really top notch. It's not a film I ever need to watch again, but it was a beautiful film to watch the first time, even if it was brutal. Best Song, the nominees were Applause from Tell It Like a Woman. That's the Sophia Carson song that I didn't remember the name. Hold My Hand from Top Gun Maverick, which was beautifully performed by Lady Gaga during the event. Lift Me Up from Black Panther, which was really well done by Rihanna. Naatu Naatu from RRR, which was probably the most fun performance. And then This Is a Life from Everything Everywhere, which was probably the worst performance of the night. And the winner, I wanted it to go to Lift Me Up. I really badly wanted to go to Lift Me Up, but it ended up going to Naatu Naatu, which people loved Naatu Naatu. I've not seen RRR, but the song was really fun to watch performed on stage. So I'm gonna have to watch the movie finally. Then Best Music Original Score, we had All Quiet on the Western Front, Babylon, Banshees of Inisherin, Everything Everywhere, and The Fabelmans. And this one went to All Quiet, and I definitely agree with this one, right? That song, that score was just in your face. It was in every scene. It was blaring. It was, making you feel the sadness of the scenes. It was making you feel the impact of the war, and it just went a long way to making you just feel dread, and it was really well done. And then best makeup and hairstyling, and this one actually really surprised me. We had All Quiet on the Western Front, The Batman, Black Panther: Wakanda Forever, Elvis, and The Whale. I really wanted to go to The Batman because of just what they did to Colin Farrell to turn him into the Penguin. I thought it was phenomenal. And if it wasn't going to be that, I thought it was going to be All Quiet on the Western Front because just the effects, the blood effects, the gore effects, everything about that makeup was just amazing, super realistic. But it went to The Whale. Now, I have not seen The Whale, but I know that the biggest makeup and hairstyle I think comes with Brendan Fraser's character in the fat suit he wore, and don't get me wrong, it looks realistic, it looks good. I just don't think that it deserved it when comparing to the Batman and All Quiet on the Western Front's makeup and hairstyling. I think those are just another level because I still recognize Brendan Fraser in The Whale. That's Brendan Fraser. I do not recognize Colin Farrell in the Batman. That's not what Colin Farrell looks like at all. Whereas The Whale, you can still tell in the face it's Brendan Fraser. But you can't do anything about the award now. Best International Feature Film. Now this one was a dead giveaway what was gonna win because when you nominate a movie, one of these movies for Best Picture, it's obviously gonna win the Best International Feature Film. There's just no contest there. But we had All Quiet on the Western Front, Argentina 1985, Close, EO, and The Quiet Girl, and this of course went to All Quiet on the Western Front. Again, when you nominate for Best Picture, you know it's gonna win the International Feature Film. That's just easy. Best Film Editing, this was a tough competition. We had The Banshees of Inisherin, Elvis, Everything Everywhere, Tar, and Top Gun Maverick. Now, my vote was either Everything Everywhere or Elvis, and Everything Everywhere took it home, and that makes sense. The editing was just phenomenal, right? Just some of those cuts, some of that, constant switching to different universes, all the random stuff that went on was just really well constructed and led to a really great movie. Best Documentary Short Film. I did not watch any of these because I don't watch documentaries. But we had The Elephant Whisperers, Haul Out, How Do You Measure a Year, The Martha Mitchell Effect, and Stranger at the Gate. And The Elephant Whisperers won. And if that deserves it, let me know. I don't know. I don't watch documentaries. Best Documentary Feature Film. Again, I don't watch documentaries. But we had All That Breeze, All the Beauty and the Bloodshed, Fire of Love, A House Made of Splinters, and Navalny. And Navalny took it home, and I don't watch documentaries, so I don't know if it deserved it. But I guess the documentary, the subject of the documentary is in prison right now. So it must be a tough one. It must be a very good documentary that delves very deep into oppression and stuff going on. And maybe I'll watch it because it won, and there's a lot riding on it. Best Directing. We had Martin McDonagh trying for The Banshees. We had the Daniels for Everything Everywhere. Steven Spielberg for The Fabelmans. Todd Field for Tar. And Ruben Ostlund for Triangle of Sadness. And this went to the Daniels, and rightfully so. The Daniels made a fantastic movie. I cannot say Everything Everywhere All at Once is fantastic enough. All right, that movie was it was great. It was my favorite movie of the year. And all the awards it was pulling in were rightfully deserved. Then we had Best Costume Design, and we had Babylon, Black Panther: Wakanda Forever, Elvis, Everything Everywhere, and Mrs. Harris Goes to Paris. One of those films doesn't belong there. But the award went to Black Panther: Wakanda Forever, and that makes sense because they had to create an entire fake country of outfits, all right? Wakanda doesn't exist. I'm sorry to burst your bubble, but Wakanda doesn't exist, and so all those outfits had to be beautifully created from, African heritage, African cultures, and create something new. And they both had to do it with Wakandans and also the Talokans, Namor's people. They had to create these amazing outfits, and it rightfully deserved. And this person actually won. Ruthie Carter actually won for Black Panther 1 as well. So Black Panther is pulling in the Oscars for the MCU. Then Best Cinematography, we had All Quiet on the Western Front, Bardo, False Chronicle of Handful of Truth, Elvis, Empire of Light, and Tar. And this went to All Quiet on the Western Front, and I definitely agree with that too. That was some beautiful cinematography, all right? Just the visuals of the film. Again, it showed the brutality of war and all of its brutalness, and it never have to watch it again, but it was a fantastic movie. Best Animated Feature Film, Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio, Marcel the Shell with Shoes On, Puss in Boots: The Last Wish, The Sea Beast, and Turning Red. And my vote was for Marcel the Shell with Shoes On because that is the most unique film on this list. It was just a feel-good, heartfelt film, but sadly it did not win. Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio pulled in the award. That movie was impressive too, but it was Pinocchio. I wanted something unique like Marcel the Shell with Shoes On. This is one of the few awards that I'm actually upset that that a different movie won. But the Academy likes Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio better, I guess. Then, Best Actress in a Supporting Role is probably the category that's getting the most flack on the internet, the most arguments being spewed. We had Angela Bassett in Black Panther, Hong Chau in The Whale, Carrie Condon in The Banshees, Jamie Lee Curtis in Everything Everywhere, and Stephanie Hsu in Everything Everywhere. And I wanted it to be Angela Bassett. All right, Angela Bassett acted her heart out in Wakanda Forever. She was the front runner going into this. Everybody thought it's gonna be Angela Bassett. It's gonna be Angela Bassett. There's no way it's not Angela Bassett. And then it wasn't. It was Jamie Lee Curtis for Everything Everywhere. Which, don't get me wrong, Everything Everywhere is a good movie. Jamie Lee Curtis does a good job. But she doesn't do anything in that movie that's particularly memorable, particularly surprising, particularly fantastic. I mean, if they're going to give it to an Everything Everywhere actor, the fact they didn't give it to Stephanie Hsu is just wild. I mean, she's like the main antagonist of the film, and she just does a great job in that film. But for some reason, the Academy liked Jamie Lee Curtis more. Now, there's some people saying maybe it's a legacy award. I don't know. I don't know what went on here. I think Angela Bassett 100% deserves this award. But I like Jamie Lee Curtis. Don't get me wrong. But Angela Bassett just acted her heart out in Black Panther Wakanda Forever. Maybe it's because it's an MCU movie. Maybe it's because Jamie Lee Curtis is getting a legacy award. Maybe it's just because the Academy thought Jamie Lee Curtis did a better job. We'll never know. Then we had Best Actress in a Leading Role, Cate Blanchett in Tar, Ana de Armas in Blonde, Andrea Riseborough in To Leslie, Michelle Williams in The Fabelmans, and Michelle Yeoh in Everything Everywhere. And I thought this was either going to go to Cate Blanchett or Michelle Yeoh, because Cate Blanchett did a great job in Tar, even though I didn't like Tar. And Michelle Yeoh was Michelle Yeoh. And it went to Michelle Yeoh, rightfully so, all right? She was just super excited. It was a very heartfelt speech, and I'm very glad that she won this award. Continued to push Everything Everywhere supremacy at this year's Oscars. Best Actor in a Supporting Role, we had Brendan Gleeson in The Banshees. I don't understand why he's even nominated. I feel like he should be a lead actor, but okay. Brian Tyree Henry in Causeway, Judd Hirsch in The Fabelmans, Barry Keoghan in The Banshees, and Ke Huy Quan in Everything Everywhere, and it went to short round. Ke Huy Quan, and he was so excited, and it was fantastic. All right, this is his grand return to Hollywood after kind of being off, not getting much jobs, and just kind of disappearing into the shadows. But he's back, and he won an Oscar, and he was it was beautiful. I wanted to cry. All right, I'm so glad that he won. Best Actor in a Leading Role, we had Austin Butler in Elvis, Colin Farrell in The Banshees, Brendan Fraser in The Whale, Paul Mescal in Aftersun, and Bill Nye in Living. And it was Brendan Fraser, and he was the front runner, and people were hyping up his performance. Even The Whale was an alright movie, people said. I still haven't seen it, but people were hyping Brendan Fraser up so much, and he won it. And he got a standing ovation, because again, this is also his big grand return to Hollywood after a lot of years of health problems and sexual assault, and it was just, yeah, I'm so happy for him. He was in tears, standing ovation, everybody was excited, and the videos I've seen of him in that movie, he rightfully deserved this award, and I can't wait to see what he does next. Then we had the big movie, the Best Picture. All Quiet on the Western Front, Avatar: The Way of Water, The Banshees, Elvis, Everything Everywhere, The Fabelmans, Tar, Top Gun 2, Triangle of Sadness, and Women Talking. And there was only like 2 or 3 movies on this list that I would have been upset if they won. And my front runner is Everything Everywhere, and Everything Everywhere came in and frickin' won it. Harrison Ford presented the award. Everything Everywhere came up on stage. Ke Huy Quan was so frickin' excited, jumping up and down. It was beautiful to see, grabbing onto Harrison Ford, giving him a big ol' hug, and the Daniels were super excited. Everybody in Everything Everywhere all at once was just super excited, and this movie definitely deserved it. I was worried that the Oscars would mess it up. I was worried they would not give it to Everything Everywhere, but they did not mess it up. They did a fantastic job, and it led to, just definitely deserved movie. Fantastic movie. All right. Most of these movies were great, but Everything Everywhere all at once 100% deserved the award, and I'm so glad that it got it. But yeah, that is all of the awards that were handed out at the Oscars. Decent show. Pretty much everybody got the awards they should. And overall, there's not much more to talk about, all right? The Oscars won without a hitch. Everything's happened how it was supposed to. Now everyone's looking to next year. What's going to be nominated next year? Who's going to win? Who's going to not win? Who's going to be snubbed? We don't know. There were some big snubs this year, right? Like movies like The Menu, The Northman. They deserved to be up here, but they were not up here, sadly. Every year there's snubs, and those were some of them. But overall, decent Oscars. Fun time. Funny jokes. Kept me engaged. Some weird things like Disney's 100th anniversary not being a 100th anniversary celebration. Some weird award wins like Jamie Lee Curtis. But overall, a pretty decent Oscars. I hope you enjoyed. Let me know what you thought about the Oscars in the comments below. Did you enjoy it? Did you hate it? Let me know all of that. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, tell your friends, us, all the fun stuff us YouTubers tell you guys to do. And I hope to see you in the next